George Washington, the first President of the United States, is widely regarded as one of the most formidable and influential leaders in modern history. Beyond his pivotal role in founding the American nation, Washington was also a man of deep personal discipline, unwavering integrity, and profound wisdom, qualities that many scholars, historians, and philosophers believe were strongly influenced by the timeless principles of Stoicism. This comprehensive script explores in great detail how Stoic teachings extensively permeated George Washington's life, his leadership style, and critical decisions, revealing a lesser-known yet essential facet of his personality and enduring legacy that is often overshadowed by his military and political achievements. Introduction. When we undertake a thoughtful analysis of George Washington's life, it is vital to delve into the philosophical roots that profoundly shaped his character, moral compass, and behavior. Although the philosophy of Stoicism originated in ancient Greece and was further refined by Roman thinkers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, its influence was far-reaching, extending not only throughout antiquity but also profoundly inspiring prominent individuals during the Enlightenment and into the modern and contemporary eras. Washington, who was educated in an era where the classical traditions of Enlightenment philosophy revered the Stoics as exemplars of reason and virtue, absorbed and internalized many of these values throughout his writings, speeches, personal correspondence, and conduct. This video aims to deepen the connections between the life and leadership of Washington and the philosophy of Stoicism, demonstrating why he should be considered a practical Stoic, whose core virtues have transcended the barriers of time and cultural context to remain relevant and illuminating today. Stoicism, main principles and core values. To truly understand how George Washington might justifiably be classified as a Stoic, it is imperative first to highlight and explore the foundational principles of Stoic philosophy in more depth. Stoicism is a rigorous philosophical discipline that emphasizes virtue as the highest and most essential good, underscores the paramount importance of reason as the guide to life, teaches the acceptance of fate as something beyond our control, and advocates the thoughtful regulation and mastery of emotions to attain tranquility and resilience of the mind. Among its central tenets are the vital distinction between what lies within our control and what does not, the practice of serene resignation in the face of pervasive and inevitable adversity, and the ethical commitment to justice, fairness, and moral excellence. These profound principles find relevant echoes in many of the landmark actions, decisions, and moral feats that ultimately led Washington to lasting fame and respect, clearly indicating that he consciously, and at times perhaps intuitively, applied a deeply Stoic ethic in his leadership approach and personal life. Washington's education and philosophical influences. George Washington's educational background was typical of the colonial elite of his time, which included a rigorous study of classical Greek and Roman literature and philosophy, fields in which Stoicism was frequently an essential and revered component of the curriculum. Beyond religious texts and legal treatises, Washington engaged with the works of great ancient thinkers who emphasized virtues such as self-control, moderation, duty, and honor, all core pillars of Stoicism. Crucially, Washington did not merely absorb these academic traditions passively. He actively incorporated these philosophical ideals into his personal ethical framework and the republican ideals he championed and lived by throughout his public and private life. A wealth of documentary evidence, spanning his letters, personal diaries, and public speeches, frequently reflects quintessential Stoic themes, such as enduring patience in the face of misfortune and a steadfast conviction that one's duty must always prevail over personal gain or interest. Washington on the battlefield, exemplifying resilience and discipline. Washington is especially renowned for his steadfast leadership during the American Revolutionary War, where he faced an array of daunting challenges, including severe shortages of resources, harsh and unforgiving living conditions, and the formidable opposition of a well-equipped and experienced British Army. His resilience and disciplined demeanor throughout these trials were nothing short of remarkable, demonstrating Stoic self-control of the highest order. He did far more than just inspire his troops to persevere through grueling hardships. He himself maintained a calm mind and clear, rational thought even amidst relentless pressure and uncertainty. The legendary crossing of the Delaware River on Christmas Eve 1776 stands as an emblematic embodiment of Stoic courage in action, an act marked by calculated precision, serene confidence, and strategic brilliance that dramatically altered the course of the conflict. In such high-stakes moments of crisis, Washington exemplified the rational acceptance of uncontrollable external events, steadfastly adhering to the Stoic precept of concentrating all energy and effort exclusively on what was within his power to influence: his decisions, actions, and leadership. Personal conduct, honor, virtue, and consummate moderation. Among the many admirable qualities that defined Washington's life, perhaps none is more praised than his unwavering personal integrity and deep-rooted commitment to living virtuously. He was widely known and respected for his honesty, simplicity, humility, and moderation in both his public role and private affairs, characteristics that align closely and beautifully with the Stoic ideal of leading a life governed primarily by reason and virtue. Washington consciously rejected excessive displays of luxury and opulence and consistently maintained an attitude of humility, even while wielding enormous power, thereby demonstrating that a true and effective leader must be the first to serve others and the last to seek personal benefit. His deliberate refusal to proclaim himself a king, combined with his voluntary relinquishment of power after 2 presidential terms, vividly symbolize his outright rejection of selfish ambition and his profound dedication to the common good, principles that Stoics like Marcus Aurelius ardently championed as the very essence of ethical leadership. Challenges and how Washington faced them with Stoicism. Throughout his tumultuous life, Washington confronted an array of severe adversities, ranging from personal tragedies including the premature loss of family members to the colossal responsibility of steering a newly formed nation through its formative, often precarious years. His personal correspondence, diaries, and recorded reflections provide a revealing window into a mind that was perpetually seeking to balance emotional stability with the immense burdens of leadership, often at a high personal cost in terms of stress and sacrifice. Faced with profound political turbulence and military uncertainty, Washington maintained an unwaveringly focused and composed demeanor, diligently applying the Stoic practice of accepting realities beyond his control while channeling his energy in the most effective manner on those matters fully within his grasp. More than simply a military commander or political leader, Washington stood as a towering example of resilience itself, powerfully illustrating how emotional mastery and allegiance to reason form indispensable foundations for true greatness. The Stoic legacy of George Washington. The influence of Stoicism on George Washington clearly transcends his own historical period and reverberates powerfully in the enduring values and principles that constitute the very foundation of the United States. His relentless emphasis on personal responsibility, civic duty, and prudent moderation has become deeply embedded in the cultural and political DNA of American democracy. Numerous elements of his Stoic thought and practice continue to resonate strongly within American political institutions and cultural norms even today. When we examine Washington's life and leadership through the insightful lens of Stoicism, we recognize that he did not merely espouse philosophical ideas in theory. He fully embodied them through deliberate, principled action and dogged perseverance, providing an invaluable exemplar for contemporary leaders and for all people aspiring to live lives imbued with purpose, resilience, and moral clarity. Practical applications of Stoicism in Washington's example today. George Washington's life and example compellingly demonstrate that Stoicism is by no means a distant, antiquated, or purely academic philosophy, but rather an enduring, practical guide for modern life. In an age marked by unprecedented global crises, profound uncertainties, and immense pressures placed on leaders and individuals alike, the Stoic virtues of self-control, calm acceptance, and unwavering commitment to justice and fairness remain absolutely essential tools for preserving personal integrity and moral strength. Washington's story shows us that it is both possible and imperative to maintain equanimity and courage in the face of grave adversity, and to conduct ourselves with the highest ethics to achieve lasting and meaningful success. This video will help viewers to understand how these ancient philosophical principles can be actively harnessed today to enable effective leadership and lives filled with deep meaning and authenticity. Conclusion. By the end of this video, it will become abundantly clear that George Washington was fundamentally a practical Stoic. His actions, decisions, and core values vividly reflect the central tenets of Stoic philosophy: the relentless pursuit of virtue, the critical importance of self-mastery and emotional regulation, and the calm, judicious acceptance of the circumstances presented by fate and reality. His legacy offers us a profoundly inspiring example of ethical leadership, integrity, and inner strength that continues to resonate and remain highly relevant even centuries later. Understanding this Stoic dimension of Washington's life and character not only enriches our historical perspective, but also motivates and empowers us to apply his moral teachings while facing today's challenges with courage, wisdom, and composure.